I've had my Kindle Paperwhite 11 for about a year now. So after a year of using it almost every single day, I thought that I would just come here and talk a little bit more about my experience using Kindle. So it will be kind of like a review, but I will also tell you how owning a Kindle changed my reading habits. I will share some tips and tricks and some features that I love and use quite often. And lastly, I will also talk about things that I don't like about my Kindle because I want to be honest. I don't love everything about it. If you're new here, hi, my name's Natalia and I make bookish videos on this channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and let's get into the video. Let's talk about what I love about my Kindle. So first of all, the eye-friendly screen. I get significantly less eye strain compared to reading on a phone or a tablet. Like, I can just read for hours and I do not feel my eyes hurting or getting tired. So that is a huge plus. And you've also got different features that make the screen even more eye-friendly. So you've got this adjustable warm light so that, for instance, you can read quite comfortably in complete darkness. The next thing that I love about my Kindle, I mean, it doesn't only apply to Kindle, it's just about all e-readers in general, but obviously it's the portability. This thing literally lives in my bag. I don't think that I can even leave my house without taking it with me, Even if I don't go out for a long time, there are always like times when I've got a few spare minutes when I'm waiting for something, and then, I just pop out my Kindle and I start reading. And because it's so small and lightweight, it's not the same as taking an actual book with you, and you also don't have to worry about like destroying it. Like, whenever I take a physical book with me outside, I'm always like very careful not to destroy it. But with this thing, it's just so easy to take it with you everywhere. It's really a game changer if you want to read more during your spare time. And of course, it's extremely comfortable if you are someone who likes reading in bed. I mean, it's just so simple to just lie on your side or whatever and have your Kindle like here. It's so much more comfortable than having to deal with a physical copy. So I always take it to bed with me and I like to read it before I go to sleep. Next is battery life. I'm not sure how often I charge my Kindle. Like, I've never really measured that, but I would say maybe it's like once a week, even though I try to do some digging online, and apparently for some people it's even like every 2 to 3 weeks, but I feel like it depends on a few different things. So obviously, how often do you use your Kindle? Is your Bluetooth turned on? There's also this trick that if you turn on the airplane mode, if you don't need the internet for anything, if you turn on the airplane mode, your battery will last a lot longer. So you can do that. Definitely, it's not like my other devices. Like, my phone just dies so quickly. Same with all my other devices. Like, I feel like this is actually not that bad. I don't have to really charge it that often. Out of all the devices that I have, definitely the battery lasts the longest here. So it is definitely very convenient that you can just read for hours without having to charge it constantly. Another feature that I love is the built-in dictionary feature, and I love it mainly because I mainly read books in my non-native language. So sometimes, I need like a little explanation or translation. I mean, even if you're reading in your native language, sometimes you just need to look up the definition of certain words, right? So before it was quite annoying because I would have to like actually stop reading, look up the word online. Maybe if I wanted to learn it, I would have to like write it down or make a screenshot or whatever, and then I would have to go back to reading. It's just like too many steps. It's too bothersome. But when you're reading a Kindle, you've got a dictionary built inside. So all you have to do is you click on a word and you get a definition or a translation to your native language. Now you can actually also add your own custom dictionary because the Kindle only has like a certain number of dictionaries. As you can see here, I've added an English to Polish dictionary, and I've also got one English to English dictionary, just if I want like an English definition. But basically what you need is a compatible dictionary file in either MOBI or PRC format, and then you connect your Kindle to your computer via USB and drop that dictionary into the dictionaries folder inside the Kindle system files. But before you go through the effort of adding your own dictionary, head to Amazon's Content and Devices, then go to Content, and under Dictionaries and User Guides, you can see all the official dictionaries that you can send to your Kindle for free with just one click. And what is more, if you want to study these words later, you do not have to like actually write them down anywhere because Kindle automatically saves every word you look up. So when you long press a word for a definition, it doesn't just show you the meaning and then forget it. It actually logs that word into a feature called Vocabulary Builder. You can access it by tapping the top of the screen while reading, then hitting the menu icon and clicking Vocabulary Builder. Now, the only thing you have to be careful of is that there's like a certain limit to how many words the Kindle saves. And I've learned that the hard way. I was just like looking up many words, and at some point I just realized that the number of words in my vocabulary builder is like pretty much the same, even though I keep adding new ones. So then I realized that the older ones probably got deleted. So, I mean, you still can save like quite a lot of them, so do not worry about that. But just like make sure to study them and delete them after you learn these words, just so that you can have more space for new words and you don't end up like me with so many words just deleted. Okay, another feature that I really like is that you can send the books you borrow through the Libby app quite easily to your Kindle, so that way you can access, quite a vast range of books for free and read them on your Kindle. Of course, there's like time limit, like you borrow the book for a certain amount of time, and once the time passes, you cannot access the book on your Kindle anymore. I mean, you are essentially borrowing a book, not owning it. But I feel like that is a great way to, read a lot of books for free. And same goes for NetGalley. So, I don't know if any of you guys use NetGalley, but you can get ARCs from there. And once you are approved for an ARC, you can just send it to your Kindle and read it on your Kindle there. So yeah, I just love that Kindle makes, reading, like borrowing books digitally or even getting digital ARCs just so easy, because if I were to read them on my phone or my tablet, it would be really annoying. So I just love to have my Kindle to store these types of books as well. Okay, now I will just share some like Kindle hacks or features that maybe not everyone necessarily knows about, especially when you first get your Kindle. So in the bottom left corner, you've got this reading progress. There's like a few different versions that you can choose from. You can do that in the settings, but all you have to do is just tap the bottom left corner to cycle through these options, or you can just make it disappear completely. Another thing that you can do that maybe some people might not know about, but you can actually take a screenshot. What you have to do is you tap two opposite corners of the screen simultaneously, and the screen will flash. I would say the only downside is that, you cannot access them like very quickly. You have to actually plug the Kindle into your computer via USB and then access the screenshots. But, it is still a very interesting feature and it might be useful to some people. Another thing that you can do is you can send web articles to Kindle. So what you have to do is install the Send to Kindle browser extension, and then any long form article or blog post becomes a clean, distraction-free read on your Kindle. You can use it for, essays, newsletters, academic reads, whatever you want to. No matter what extension you use, you have to make sure that the email you're sending from is added to the approved sender list in your Amazon settings. Otherwise, the file won't go through. It's definitely so much easier to read like longer stuff on your Kindle because, like I said, it doesn't really strain your eyes. It doesn't really have any distractions. So it is also a very nice feature. If you've got a lot of books, you might want to organize them a little bit. And for that, you can use collections. So you can create your collections according to whatever you want, genre, mood, reading status. So it keeps things tidy and helps you see your progress. When you're reading, you can simply pinch the screen in or out to quickly change the font size. This works just like zooming on a phone, and it's a really easy way to adjust the text without opening any menus. If you tap the top of the screen, a menu appears. From there, tap the AA, and this section has a lot of useful customization options. For instance, you can make the font bold, or you can change the font style entirely. There's even an open dyslexic font available. You can also adjust things like spacing or layout to make the page more comfortable to read. Inside the More section, there are a few extra interesting features. For instance, you can turn on the clock, which lets you see the time while reading. You can also enable something called page animations. First, let me show you what turning pages looks like without this animation. So as you can see, it's a bit hard to tell, like when you turn the page, it's a bit hard to notice. But once you turn the animation on, it adds a subtle page turn effect, which makes it easier to notice when the page changes. When you find a quote that you like, you can press and drag over the text to highlight it. This saves the passage inside your Kindle highlights automatically. After highlighting something, you can also add a note. This is useful if you want to write your thoughts about a scene or if you're saving a quote and want to remember why it stood out. One of the most useful features is that you can export all your highlights and notes. When you export it, the file is sent to the email address connected to your Amazon account. So if you like collecting quotes, reviewing books, or using Kindle for studying, this makes it really easy to keep everything organized. Now let's talk about things I don't necessarily love about my Kindle. And the first one I really don't like is the sluggish interface. Well, it's not terrible. I mean, if you're reading and you're just turning the pages, you don't really feel it. It's not sluggish at all. But, once you want to change something in the settings or look something up, you can just feel how slow it is. I just prefer to only read on my Kindle and not actually have to look things up, because when I do, I get really annoyed with how slow it is. So that is definitely something that I think they need to work on. Then we've also got the issue of book ownership. So that is obviously like very specific to Kindles. Obviously, when you buy a Kindle book from Amazon, you're not literally owning the book. You're just buying like a license. So the problem is like you pay all this money, but at the end of the day, you're not really owning it. Like you cannot resell it. You cannot easily share it. So that's a big downside for a lot of people. I mean, I definitely wish that maybe the books could be cheaper since we're not actually owning them. We're just licensing them. They could make at least the price a lot cheaper. If we're talking about personalization and accessories, I actually keep things pretty simple. I don't really use a lot of fancy accessories. Sometimes you might notice that I use a custom lock screen that I made myself, but that's honestly a whole process, so if you want a separate video about that, let me know in the comments below. For the back of my Kindle, I just use a clear case, this heart-shaped pop socket, and a Kindle insert that I got on Etsy. I will link down below the exact insert that I am showing here in this video if you want to purchase it yourself. In the past, I also used a different insert. this is what it looks like. And even before that, I just used a plain colored insert and added my own stickers, which is what a lot of people do actually. That's basically it. Also, when I take my Kindle outside, I sometimes put it in a pouch for extra protection. This pouch that I have here, it's not even made for Kindle specifically. It's just a regular pouch I bought at a bookstore here in Korea. But it's cute and it fits perfectly, so it works great for carrying my Kindle around. Okay, so now how owning a Kindle changed my reading habits. So I'm not gonna lie, I still love a good physical book. Like, nothing can replace that. Nothing will replace, just having a bookcase filled with books, the smell of books, just the feeling of turning each page. Like, nothing can actually replace that. But having a Kindle still has really upgraded my reading. I feel like I just read so much more than I did before. Um, because, like I said, I always take it everywhere with me. I just use it and read on it whenever I've got even a few spare minutes. Otherwise, I would probably be scrolling on my phone. Like I said, bedtime reading also has gotten a lot easier. So I definitely feel like I am reading a lot more. It has really upgraded my reading life. I think if you read frequently, you love convenience, you want something eye friendly, and you travel a lot or you commute a lot, or you're just like outside a lot and you need something that's like light and portable. I feel like a Kindle or even any other ebook reader is a really good investment. Like I said, I've been using it for a year, and I will probably be using it for a few more years. Like, I'm not planning on changing my device anytime soon. I usually use all of my devices for at least a few years before I even consider upgrading to a new one. So, even though it might seem a little bit expensive, I feel like it was a very good investment in the long run, especially with like how often I use it. Like I said, I do use it every day, and it's just become like almost like my phone, like, how you always take your phone everywhere with you. I mean, I just do the same with my Kindle. I'm not gonna lie. It's like my second phone. I definitely do not regret buying it. I mean, okay, I got it as a gift, but it's honestly the best gift I've ever received. And if I were to spend my own money, I would. I'm not gonna lie, before I received the Kindle, I was really on the fence about whether or not I should buy it. But now that I have used it, I cannot imagine living differently. Okay, guys, so that is it for this video. Please let me know. Do you also own a Kindle? Are you thinking of getting one? Maybe do you have some other ebook readers? I mean, share your own experiences in the comments below. I'm definitely curious because, like I said, it is my first ever ebook reader, so I don't have like much comparison. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more bookish videos. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Happy reading, everyone.